big is the hole?
Last I measured, it was 7 inches high and 5 wide.
When was the last time you measured it?
About 4 months ago, I think.
Has it grown since then?
Doesn't feel like it.
When the hole expands, can you feel it?
Now I can. Back in the beginning, when the hole was irradiating from, oh, no, wait. No, that's not the right word. What's the word for something that spreads out?
Emanating?
Yeah, there we go. I like that. Emanating. My ex's name was Emma. It's a fine name, but so is Nadine, to be fair. I'm just more biased towards Emmas because I've never known any Nadines in the biblical sense.
So, your hole, it was emanating?
You were whip fast with that word, Delilah. You must be good at Scrabble.
Scrabble is one of many things that I'm perfectly mediocre at. So, grasshopper, emanating?
Oh, yeah. As I was saying, the hole, it grew emanating from my belly button, and I didn't feel it at first. It was like, when ink spills out of a pen, and if you're not looking right at it, you won't notice until it's all over the place. Well, it was kind of like that. One day, my belly has this one tiny black dot on it, and the next, it's a hole the size of my fist.
And you didn't feel a thing.
No, not until later. About a year ago, it grew an inch, and I could feel my body opening up. Kind of like a suitcase, right? Like a suitcase with the zipper halfway undone.
That unzipped sensation, did it hurt?
Nah, not really. But it felt weird. I kept expecting stuff to fall out of me. I was afraid to bend over and tie my shoes because I thought my guts would fall out.
But nothing's come out.
Oh, nothing goes out, no, but it takes things in.
Grasshopper, are you saying you've put things in your hole?
Wouldn't you?
I have to be honest. If I had a bottomless black hole growing on my body, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Well, I did. Well, maybe you think that's weird,
I'm
but
not here to judge, caller. You know that.
I know it's just, Dale, everybody thinks I'm, crazy whenever I bring up my hole. It's hard not to get my dander up sometimes.
It's all right, Grasshopper. Tell us more about the hole. You've put things in it.
Yeah, I wanted to see how deep it goes. At first, I stuck my hand in.
Your hand?
Yep.
How did it feel, the inside of your hole?
Like sticking your hand out the window of a speeding car, empty, bit of wind, coldness. And funny part is, I couldn't feel the sides of the hole. I spun my hand around when I stuck it in my stomach, and I couldn't feel the edges of the hole. It was just empty everywhere.
Were you able to get your hand back out?
Of course, it's on my arm. It's the stuff that's loose that don't come back. I threw $50 into the hole so I could hear when it hit the bottom. Never did. None of them do.
You've thrown coins in there.
Yeah, coins, pens, beer can tabs, paper clips, tennis balls. I even threw in a pair of teeth in there once. Not real teeth, but the ones with little feet on them that walk around when you wind them up. Like sometimes dentists have them when they want to seem like they're funny. I got one of those from my dentist, and he's not very funny, to be honest.
Did you feel the teeth walking around inside you? I mean, I assume you wound it up.
Oh, you know it, Dell. But no, I didn't feel a thing. Same as everything else. A big nothing. I was actually about to throw some pennies in just for the hell of it. Want to hear?
You mean right now? Over the phone?
That's $0.25 right there. And here it goes. Did you hear it? Did you hear them hit the bottom?
No.
Exactly.
Does it make any noise, your hole, when you're not throwing things in there?
Well, sometimes I hear this sound coming out of my hole.
What kind of sound?
Breathing, like gulps of air, like when you're underwater for too long and finally you get your head out of the water.
Huh.
At first, I thought it was me, like I was hearing my my breath through the hole. But then I noticed that my breathing didn't match it. At one time, I heard it gashing.
Gashing?
Yeah, when you're trying to catch your breath.
Do you mean gasping?
Right, gasping. Scrabble Queen strikes again. Gasping. I heard it doing that, so I held my breath to see if it stopped. It didn't. Just kept right along, sucking up air while my cheeks were as fat as a squirrel at the nut factory.
Does it breathe a lot?
At night, mostly. I had to sleep, hard to sleep when it starts up.
Has it always done that, or
Wait. Well, I'll be. It's doing it now.
it's breathing?
Yeah, it is. Do you want to listen?
It's what I'm here for.
Hundreds and thousands of light years, Dell. That's how far they travel.
When did you start hearing them?
I was 10. I didn't know what to make of it at first. The dripping sound, the static, the roar, all of them hitting my ear every 20 minutes on the dot.
Did you tell your parents?
Oh, yeah, of course. And they took me to doctors and they ran me through test after test after test. They thought it was an auditory hallucination.
Like some psychosomatic form of tinnitus?
Basically, I did years of therapy, Dell. All those doctors rooting around in my brain, trying to figure out why I heard these noises every 20 minutes.
On the dot.
On the fucking dot, Dell.
When did you realize it wasn't a hallucination?
2008, I heard this recording.
The black holes.
Yeah, the black hole in the Perseus cluster. They detected these massive ripples, sound waves pulsing out of the heart of this black hole. A B flat note sung deeper than any other sound in the universe.
I have that recording queued up. Do you mind if I play it for all of our Midnight Wildlife listeners?
Go ahead.
That sound, folks, comes from matter being sucked into the black hole. Now, what you're hearing is waves of pressure washing over space.
Yeah, black holes produce these jets of matter, ionized, all the stuff being crushed and compacted into it. I like to think of it like how blood sprays out in samurai movies. It's the sound of the universe bleeding out.
And that's the sound you've been hearing since you were 10 years old.
Every 20 minutes on the dot, the Perseus hole sings to me.
How did you feel the first time you heard the recording?
I was so relieved. Del, for years, I thought I was crazy. It felt like all the light was being sucked out of my body. Hearing that black hole on tape, I started getting that light back.
How is your show doing?
My producer tells me we're KZOS's top show. Overall, we're the second highest rated AM radio in America.
That's nice. Who's the first?
Tongue-tied. with Dr. Lips.
Ooh, that's that man with the silky voice who gives relationship advice. Heartbreak is a disease. I'm the cure. I love that show.
You listen to that trash?
When you're past the age of romance, there's a little thrill in watching everyone else twist in the wind.
Wait, how do you even listen to that show? Do you do it during your computer time?
No, dear, I use the radio you bought me.
What radio? I didn't buy you a radio.
Well, I bought it, but it was through money you gave me.
I have not, have never, and will never give you money, Sheila.
They said it was you.
It must have been one of my fans donated on my behalf.
Oh. But either way, it's nice to have a radio. It's probably the best thing any of your fans have ever sent me, aside from the marriage proposal.
Oh. Oh, God. Jesus. One of them proposed to you?
Yes, dear. Very steamy letters. Said a lot of nice things about your program, but much too young for me.
It wasn't Praying Mantis, was it?
Yes. I think he said that was his name on your show.
I'll never forget that guy. Calls me to say he remembers each of his past lives, and in every single one, he's died while having sex. Said he's destined to die the same way in this life. You'd figure with a prophecy like that, he'd swear off sex altogether. But no. Said his biggest problem in life is that he couldn't find anybody willing to fuck him and kill him.
Some people you talk to, Delilah, honestly.
He must have reached out to you because he thought you'd do it.
I would never. Why do you call them animals? I've never understood that. Dr. Lips uses real names. You're on the line, Steve from Anaheim.
I've explained this before. Look, it's thematic. And it helps people come out of their shells. It's not Steve from Anaheim talking to me. It's Armadillo from God knows where. It protects their identities, and it's easier to remember.
And do you give them the names based on what they're calling about?
No, I randomly assign it before I even talk to them. Sometimes, though, they can be weirdly appropriate, like Praying Mantis.
Do you think maybe he told you that story because you called him Praying Mantis?
What? I hadn't considered that, honestly.
That's why you need me in your life, Lilac. I can see things from here that you can't up close.
Did you just call me Lilac?
I used to call you that all the time, dear. I miss it.
If you ever call me that again, I'll stop taking your calls.
Okay.
I mean it.
Okay. Honey, while I have you on the line, I need to ask you something.
Look, I gotta go. I got a call on the other line.
Okay, some other time then. Love you.
I saw it there. I saw it out of my ranch. A beast straight out of the stinking guts of hell.
What did you see, Muskrat?
Saw me one of them chupacabra sucking of my Billy Scruff. Just going down, poor old Billy Scruff. Sucking up every last drop.
I'm sorry. Just to be clear, are you saying the goat sucker was pleasuring your dog?
Well, it didn't seem very pleasurable to Billy Scruff there.
What did you do, seeing your dog being sexually serviced by a chupacabra?
Whoa. Who said anything about no sex? That's sick, the almighty unchristian of you to say that about my dog. God rest his mangy soul.
You said he was being sucked off.
Of his neck, Dale, sucking all the blood out of his neck. You think I was talking about his weenus? That's sick, lady.
To be fair, Muskrat, sucking off is a phrase that usually relates to the weenus.
Well, where I'm from, we don't have fancy way of talking about that kind of perverting.
Well, fellatio would be the fancy way of talking about it.
Look here, little lady. I didn't come here to talk about no sexual armadillos.
Do you mean peccadillos?
Armadillos, peccadillos. You want to hear about the chupacabra or not?
Yes, of course. No more talk about sexual armadillos, I promise. Please, go on, Muskrat. The chupacabra was sucking off your dog?
God rest his mangy soul. So I fire a warning shot into the air. That little hell beast drops my poor Billy Scruff. I sucked Billy Scruff so hard, them mud was deflated like a tire tore up by a cactus.
And what did it look like, the chupa?
Scaly and brown, color of wet shit, eyes red like salsa, big old spines poking out of his back like rebar poles, huge nuts too, like avocados.
What?
Look, I'm just saying the thing had big nuts. I'm just trying to be scientific here. Don't make a big deal out of it.
Okay. And what happened next?
So it hitters me like a cat, flashes big teeth at me. They'll razor sharp looking or curved like the tip of a hunting knife. Nasty looking mouth on that thing. So I gotta cock my gun to give this little bloodsucker a belly full of buck, and he makes a break for it. Just dives through a hole in the chicken fence and bolts out into the night. Last thing I saw of it was its big blue ass disappearing past some sagebrush.
Big blue ass?
Blue as a toilet cleaner and big as a baboon tail.
You paint a very vivid picture, Muskrat.
Well, I just want your viewers to know the facts. You ever see this thing out in the wild, you know exactly what it is.
A dog-sucking, razor-mouth, blue-ass, shit-brown monster with avocado nuts.
Well, I said they were as big as avocados, though. They were not actually avocados.
Though it begs the question, callers, if they were avocados, would you eat them?
That's another mighty unchristian thing to ask now. I'm gonna have to pray for you after this call.
Thank you, Muskrat. And I'll be sure to burn a candle tonight for Billy Scruff.
God rest his mangy soul.
It's bullshit that there's no country on that record. They put a bunch of classical on there, but they couldn't fit in one Hank Williams.
How do you think I feel? There's barely any women on it. I think they have a peasant girl singing on the album. That's it. On a record that's meant to represent all of humanity, and 50% of us are barely on it. Any alien ever finds one of the Voyager probes and figures out how to play that golden record, they won't know what an adult woman sounds like.
That is kind of fucked up.
Well, at least there's one blues number on there. The Blind Willie Johnson.
Dark was the night, cold was the ground. I had an uncle who used to play that on his beat to shit mandolin. Always gave me the creeps.
The uncle or the song?
Both.
Well, at least Chuck Berry made it up there. Johnny Be Good.
Oh, of all the rock songs to send up into space, that one?
Why not? It's happy. There's no pain in it. It's just hot trots.
Me, I could pick one song, any song, it would have been I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry.
God, that's such a depressing song.
Well, shoot. Imagine if you were a satellite floating hundreds, millions of light years away. Alone, cold, floating forever. Feels like that song would make a lot of sense in light of that situation.
You're basing your choice on the emotional state of a satellite?
I guess so. What about you? What would be your song?
Ooh, Cyndi Lauper. Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Really? You have that song be an ambassador for the human race?
Why not? It's pop. Almost all the Voyager songs are vegetable music, classical, world music, good for you music, music you listen to for the sake of being cultured or anthropological. Chuck is the closest thing on there to bubblegum, that trashy stuff we actually listen to all the time. Besides, the aliens need to know that at least one half of the species was trying to have a good time.
And you think we don't?
I think men are more interested in showing off to other men how good a time they're having than actually having a good time.
It all just seems like a waste to me. Like aliens would even understand whatever it is we've sent them. What if they don't have ears? What if they never evolved a need for music? What if they think the gold record is just a big old biscuit?
Or there's nobody out there to hear it. We're all alone, and the Voyager probes with all their greetings from Earth messages, all their golden records, are just shiny rocks falling down a bottomless hole.
And you call Hank Williams depressing. Oh, Hank never sang anything that sad.
And the ship is hovering over my backyard, Dell, and it's making this noise like a bell, like 1,000 bells ringing at once.
What did the ship look like?
Like a cigar, a big, fat, silvery cigar.
Did you smell anything strange in the air?
You betcha. Burnt toast, mostly. Real strong burning toast smell.
So what did the ship do next?
It lowers itself until it's about 12 feet off the ground. This glowing hole opens up on its underside, and this tube of blue light beams down. I could see dark shapes drop down. Looked kind of like the inside of a lava lamp, Dell. All these dark blobs swirling around and mashing into each other.
Were you scared?
I'm man enough to admit I pissed myself, Dell. Pissed myself something fierce.
And the dark shapes, what did they do?
That blue beam disappears, and these beings start approaching me. Gray little guys, about 3.5, 4 feet tall. Little lizard men with huge eyes, big and black with purple pupils in the center. They wore these gold foil jumpsuits, and the one in the lead was carrying this silver dish that looked like a smaller version of their ship. And they come up to me in my pea-soaked sweatsuit, and they hand me this dish. And they just stand there, not saying a thing, waiting for me to open it.
Did you open it?
Yeah, I did.
What was inside it?
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Yep, pancakes. A 3-stack, real fluffy, no butter or syrup on them.
What did you do?
Well, I was just baffled, Dell. I stood there with my mouth open, and these 3 little gray guys, they just stand there, waiting. I got a feeling they wanted me to eat these pancakes, and I really didn't want to. I had just eaten some meatloaf at the diner, and besides, who wants to eat flapjacks with no syrup? But I didn't want to be rude, Dell. What if this is how their people introduced themselves? What if I started an interstellar war because I didn't want to eat their breakfast chow? So I ate the pancakes.
How were they?
Oh, it's terrible, Dell. Worst goddamn pancakes I've ever had in my life. They didn't give me no utensils, so I ate it with my bare hands. And they were cold pancakes, too. Plus, I had nothing to wash them down with. Just awful, Dell. But I ate every last crumb for the sake of interstellar peace.
So what happened next?
They left. That's it. Swear to God. They watched me eat every last bite of their terrible pancakes, took the dish out of my hands, and then they nodded at each other and left. Went back in the blue tube, turned into lava lamps again, and then hovered away into the night sky.
Did you feel strange afterward? Any side effects from eating the food? Did you ever see them again?
No, I felt fine. I've never seen those little guys since then. But some nights I'll go outside and I'll find a plate of pancakes waiting for me on my stoop. No note, no utensils, no syrup or butter. And they all taste just as bad as that first stack of flapjacks.
You have a collect call from
Sheila Marsden?
an inmate at Florence McClure Women's Correctional Center. This call may be monitored and recorded. The cost for this call is 25 cents a minute. To accept this call, please press 0.
Hi, honey. How are you?
What do you want, Sheila?
I just wanted to hear how my favorite girl is.
I'm good, Sheila.
Me too. I'm still a kicking chicken.
That's great, Sheila.
What's new with you, sweetie?
Well, I just got invited to give a lecture on working in radio to a bunch of college students. Aside from that, it's the same old, Sheila.
Oh, that sounds nice. Good for you. I'm glad. I'm sure they could learn a lot from you.
No, thanks for the vote of confidence, Sheila.
Jesus, would it kill you to call me Mom?
That's a real poor choice of words, Sheila.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean...
I only have so many quarters to spare, Sheila, so why don't you get to the point?
It must be nice to spend quarters on a call that cost me $17 to make.
Which you wouldn't have spent just to ask me if I'm fine. So what do you want?
My parole hearing is coming up.
I know.
You do. I was starting to wonder. My lawyer never heard back from you.
I thought that made my answer pretty clear.
Oh, honey, please, if you could just put in a good word for me, it would really help.
God, I hate modern cell phones. They make this part so unsatisfying. And you're sure it was her?
I had front row seats when she played Corpus Christi in '93. That face, that voice, I'd know them anywhere.
How old were you when you went to that show, Chinchilla?
7, I think. I don't remember a lot of my childhood, Del, but I remember her. I may have been a white girl in Texas, but I spent so much of my teens trying to look like her. The lips, the hair, she is the most beautiful human being I've ever seen.
What was the moment when you realized your realtor wasn't who she said she was?
It was during the final walkthrough. My husband and I had gotten into a fight in the drive over to the house. I don't remember what it was about, something stupid probably. Almost all of our arguments were over something stupid. So the two of us show up to look at this beautiful home, and she's out there, our realtor, Viviana, wearing this plum-colored jacket and pumps with this peacock feather design. And as we walk up the stairs to say hi, she flashes us this smile, and bitty bomb, there I was back in Corpus Christi, 1993, seeing her smiling down at me from the stage with that same expression.
Did you tell your husband your realtor was Selena?
Not at that moment. I didn't know what to do, Del. She was showing us around the house, talking about the pool out back, the tile flooring. And all I could think about is that I'm buying a house from a dead woman. I'm buying a house from Selena Quintanilla Perez. That's all I can think about. I'm buying a house from Selena.
So what happened after that?
We closed on the house. I told my husband a week after moving in that our realtor is Selena, and he laughed at me. He thought I was putting him on. Why would she fake her own death? It wasn't even a question of how with him. It was just why. And I couldn't think of an answer. I started to doubt myself. And then a few days later, she drops by in the middle of the day while my husband was at work with a housewarming gift. A bottle of champagne. She said she meant to come by sooner, but she had to leave town for a while. And it just poured out of me. I told her I knew. I knew she was Selena. I knew.
Did she confess? Did she deny it?
She just gave me the bottle and left in a hurry. Didn't say a word to me. Oh, I felt so bad, Del. What if she wasn't Selena and just thought I was some racist who thought all Latinas looked like Selena? Or what if she was Selena and I had just blown her cover and now she had to leave the real estate game behind? Oh, I felt so stupid. But then that night, the miracle happened, Del. She called me. Selena called me.
Your realtor, Viviana.
Yes, she told me it was true. She was Selena. She was so shocked that I recognized her that she didn't know what to say. But she was relieved that she could finally talk to someone, that she could share her story. She asked me to meet her at a hotel nearby, so I snuck out of the house. My husband snores like an elephant. Didn't hear any of it.
So you met Selena, the real Selena, did she share her story?
She shared more than her story, Del. She shared her body with me.
You slept with Selena?
I'm not gay. At least I wasn't before I met her. But we spent the night in that room talking and crying and laughing together. And that mouth. Oh, I couldn't stop thinking about her mouth and the redness of her lips. I kept wondering what kind of fruit that red would taste like. Raspberries? Strawberries? Pomegranates? And I think she could see me wondering about it because she pulled me in and kissed me. And it felt like, I felt like a battery that finally got charged for the first time ever, you know?
Yeah, I know the feeling.
But before that, before we shared a bed, she told me about how she faked her death, that she knew things, awful things. She told me about how she met people, fans, who showed her these videos, photos. She called them horrors, what they showed her. Just thinking about them in our room made her weep. She told me they showed her images of factories in the desert full of dead women. They told her about monstrous men who had eyes as black as dolls, things that...
Seven, five, 7, 5, 5.
Chinchilla? Chinchilla? Are you there? Chinchilla? Folks, it looks like the 2 a.m. gremlins have struck again. Chinchilla, call us back so we can hear the rest of your story. In the meantime, let's hear a word from our sponsors at Three Little Piggies Ham Radio Outlet. Three Little Piggies. They'll make you squeal like a pig. In a good way.
7, 5, 5, 7, 5, 5, 7.
Hank. Hank, are you there? Shoot.
I don't know how you keep it in.
Keep what in?
The laughter, honey. I don't know how you talk to those maniacs night after night and not crack up.
Well, they're not all maniacs.
Last show of yours, I heard there was that guy who called you back in March. The one who thought King Tut was talking to him through his microwave. Sounds like a maniac to me.
Scarlet Ibis, that was his name. And that show was back in November.
I guess I haven't kept up in a while.
It's fine. Most of them, they're weirdos, sure, but they just want to be heard. They've got these caged animals inside them, pacing back and forth, keeping them up at night. They just need a place to let them out for a while.
So what does that make you, the zookeeper?
I used to want to do that when I was a kid. I thought it'd be a dream to run a zoo.
I bet you look like a dream in zookeeper shorts.
Buy me a pair the next time you're in town and we'll see if you win that bet.
Then what will I have to do if I lose the bet?
You won't. I look good in everything.
You'll get no argument from me there, sugar.
That's a pity. We're overdue for a fight. Your visits are always more fun for me if I hate you a little bit.
You ever see one? UFOs?
No. I haven't seen any Bigfoots or lake monsters or Elvises or Selenas either.
Do you want to?
No. For starters, I wouldn't want to lose my journalistic objectivity.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy that with a wooden nickel. You're a shit liar, honey.
I'm not lying.
You know, Roxanne saw a UFO once.
Huh.
Said it was a golden triangle just gliding in circles over Wheeler Park. Did I ever tell you about that?
No. We usually make a point of not talking about Roxanne.
Yeah, you're right. It's just that thing you said about caged animals. I think that triangle keeps her up at night.
Well, you should have her call in sometime. I'd love to hear from your wife. I've already got her caller handle picked out. Elephant in the room.
Okay, I get it.
Talking about your wife right after we flirt isn't getting me to hate you a little bit, Hank. That pushes it towards a lot territory.
Something's bothering you.
Oh, you think?
No, it's not just the foot in my mouth that's got you so sharp, prickly pear. What's got you so ornery?
I don't want to hear that cowpoke shit right now.
You love it.
When we're in a motel room, sure. When I want to stick my fist through the speaker and deck you, not so much.
Lila, come on. What is it?
Don't call me that. It's too close to lilac.
You love it when I call you Lila.
Well, not tonight, I don't.
Look, it's fine. If you don't want to talk about whatever scorpion stung you, we don't have to.
This thing happened last night. I'm talking to a caller, and this signal, this noise cuts in. Loud and clear, voices repeating numbers over and over again.
So what? Someone hacked your signal?
Broadcast signal intrusion is a technical term.
That's what's got your snake rattled?
Well, stuff happens. Perverts call in, or some asshole tells me a story about aliens, and halfway through it turns out he's really talking about how the Jews are destroying the world or some awfulness like that. But this didn't feel like a prank.
Numbers, you said?
Yeah. It sounded like a kid was reciting them. Very mechanical, how they said it.
Could be a number station. I hear them on the shortwave sometimes.
Wait, I think somebody called in about these ones. Isn't it a spy thing?
I reckon so. Apparently they send coded messages through the numbers. Everyone's been doing it since World War II. Us, the Russians, the Germans, the Chinese. Broadcasting numbers at regular intervals all across the world, but nobody on the outside knows what it means.
Has anybody cracked them?
If anybody has, they're sure as shit not advertising it.
So it was probably just a fluke then? Their broadcast just swerved through mine?
Like a wrong way driver on the highway. Hey, sugar.
What?
What are you wearing right now?
Jeans. Shirt I haven't washed in a week.
And under those jeans, what are you wearing there?
Your face the next time I see you.
Ever the romantic, Dell.
You know how they say when you get older, your hearing dulls? That there's these frequencies that only the young can hear, and over time we get deaf to them? Whatever frequency Sweet Nothings run on, I can't hear them anymore.
It's been difficult, Delilah, not gonna lie.
Is it because you're in fear for your life?
No, I know he would never hurt me. He only eats animals.
What kind of animals?
Cats, mostly. Our town has a real bad feral cat problem. Nobody notices. Like, I don't approve of it. I love cats. And I'm a vegetarian, Delilah. I tried going vegan for a while, but I just couldn't say no to cheese.
No judgment, caller. The heart wants what it wants.
And he respects my beliefs. He'll never eat them in front of me. I'll find them afterward all shriveled up and drained, which really squeaks me out. But I never see him do it.
So if you're not afraid of him, what's the problem?
Nobody believes me when I tell them about our relationship.
You're not keeping it a secret.
No, why should I? I'm not going to live like that.
Does he feel the same way?
Not really. He keeps saying no one will believe it, so it's pointless to try.
Has it been hard to live where you live? People knowing that you're dating a vampire?
They make a lot of jokes when they think I can't hear them. It sucks. But it mostly sucks because they think my boyfriend is one of those weirdo goth guys who thinks he's a vampire.
But he's the real deal.
I've seen him turn into a bat, Delilah. I watched him climb up the side of a smokestack with just his fingertips. And when we make love, oh, Delilah, sometimes there are mirrors in the room when we make love, and I can't see him in them. I can feel him, but when I look in the glass, it's just me. It feels like the air is kissing me and wrapping me up in its arms.
Oh, that sounds nice.
That feeling is worth all the shitty jokes in the world.
I'm often asked what it's like to work in radio. Sometimes they ask me what it's like to be a DJ, which I'm not, but I play along. I tell them being a DJ is a girl's dream because I get paid to play with 12 inches all day. No, don't get spicy. Keep it professional. It's a J school classroom. They want wisdom, not sass. I'm often asked what it's like to work in radio. I wish I could say my answer is interesting, but it's not. I say the same thing every time. It's great. I get paid to talk to people all day, people who feel comfortable enough to share their secrets with me. I'm grateful for their trust, and I take it very seriously. I'm even more grateful for all my sponsors. Head shop owners of the world, thank you for keeping me from starving to death. Oh, shit. I'm often asked what it's like to work in radio. It's great, I say. I get to document the secret side to the world that nobody sees. I get to be NPR for the outer limits. I'm often asked what it's like to work in radio. Sometimes the people who ask me that are like you, students who want to know how I got to where I am now. What is it really like to work in radio? I can't tell you what it'll be like for you, starting out now in a world with 10 million podcasts. I can only say what it's like from my vantage point. Here at the pinnacle of my field, number 2 in the ratings, second only to a guy with a spray tan and mail order bride and mail order degree from American Samoa. This is what it's like to be in radio. You sleep while the rest of the world is at work. You won't have a free night in 12 years. The first 2 years of your job, you'll spend learning how to filter real callers from heavy breathers. You'll say to yourself, I'm providing a forum. I'm giving the unheard a soapbox to speak their truth. But then later you'll wonder when you get just drunk enough to let yourself go there, whether you're the ringleader of a freak show. Come look at the bearded lady sing about her UFO abduction. You'll work constantly on something that evaporates as soon as it goes out into the world. You try to capture it on tapes, but who knows how long they'll last before your life's work crumbles into demagnetized dust. And for all this work, you'll be given just enough money to stay fed and keep a roof over your head. The nicest thing you own will be a dress you bought for $50 at a TJ Maxx in Carson City in 2007. You'll own a truck that's been brought back from the dead more times than Jason Voorhees. Your only family will be a vampire you have to invite into your home with every phone call, whose voice breaks your skin and lets all your venom out. And you'll keep inviting them in because you think, maybe this time I'll finally run out of poison. Maybe this time you'll finally bleed me dry, but no, there's always more. The only relationships you'll have will be with people who can handle being with someone who's available from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And let me tell you, there are not a lot of winners out there who can work with those time slots. Maybe you'll luck out and land somebody's husband, a guy who's good in the sack and even better at not asking for any commitments. It's not like you could really give them one if they asked for it, because make no mistake, the show is your partner. The show is your better half, and your listeners are all the children you'll never have. The kids who need their boo-boos kissed, who need to be told everything will be all right. You're not crazy. I believe you. I hear you. I support you. I'll protect you. You won't die. You won't be completely forgotten like everyone else in the history of our species. Your voice and mine will travel the stars as radio waves for thousands of years until they hit the ears of some alien out there who'll appreciate us. Who think, hey, some monkeys out there actually knew what was going on. Too bad they're all dust now. I'm often asked what it's like to work in radio. And I always tell them work is the wrong word. I don't work in radio. I live in it.
To accept this call, please press 0.
Hi, honey.
Hello, Sheila.
It's such a beautiful day, isn't it? I was out in the yard earlier and I couldn't believe how blue the sky was. It made me think of your eyes, sweetie, my little sapphire. Remember when I used to call you that?
I remember everything you used to call me. Mouthy little cunt was a particular favorite.
That wasn't me. That was the demon inside me.
I know.
You know, I would never say things like that to you. It was the demon.
Sure, Sheila.
I had a dream about you last night. You were with a cowboy, the two of you riding a horse at night. You looked happy.
You're the one with the thing for cowboys, not me. Always talking about Clint Eastwood when I was little.
He was a looker, that Clint, in another life.
Without me and Dad in it.
I didn't say that.
I don't want to talk about your dreams, Sheila.
You used to tell me about your dreams all the time. I remember you running downstairs. Mommy, I had the whale dream again.
The whale dream?
You had them for years, hon. It was you and your father swimming with whales. They would sing to you. It's the darndest thing. Some nights I would walk by your room and I could hear you singing back. I think that's what you were doing, making noises like this.
I don't remember any of that.
You used to complain they were giving you math problems all the time. Why do whales need math, Mom? You can't write on paper under the sea.
When was this?
You started having them when you were 8, I guess. And you kept having them till you were 18, maybe into your 20s. You really don't remember any of this? You'd talk to me about it all the time. I remember once you came by the house. This was when you were at UCLA, and you were shivering. You said that the water was so cold where the whales live.
Stop. I don't know why you're making these stories up, but none of that is true. I never told you about my dreams. I never had those dreams.
You never let me in.
What did you just say?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it. I just
let me in. You have the nerve to keep asking me to help you. And then you say that to me?
I never said that to you, honey. Back then, that was the demon. It wasn't me. I don't deserve to be here, baby. You have to believe that.
That's it. That's all I can take from you right now.
Wait, please. Oh, please, baby. Please, it's been 20 years. 20 years. Please. I'm 30 days out from it. Please, honey. I don't want to die in this box. I want to walk across the desert with you. I want to make you s'mores and we can watch the bridges of Madison County together. Please. It would mean everything to me if you could.
Never. I don't know how to make it any more simple for you, Sheila. Never.
Why? Why do you accept my calls? If you're going to be like this, why do you say yes? Is it because you want to talk to him? The demon left me a long time ago, baby, right when I got to this place.
Well, you know what they say about criminals in the scene of a crime.
Does that mean you believe me?
I believe your broken brain needs to believe it.
So then why don't you call me Mom?
Why don't you ask the knife scar on my arm? Or on my right thigh? Or the one on my lower abdomen? I'm sure any of them could give you an answer.
That was 20 years ago, honey.
20 years. And not a day has gone by where they don't ache. Did it hurt?
It was a brief flash of pain. Extraordinary pain. Pressure. Lots of pressure. It felt like my forehead was a piece of coal being super hardened into a diamond.
Do you tell people about that pain before you operate on them?
Of course. It would be profoundly unethical of me to not set proper expectations for the procedure.
It seems like a hard sale to me, Anglerfish.
Yes, it can be, but it's a question of investment. Is a minute or two of extreme pain worth never-ending bliss for the rest of your life?
You know what people say about that kind of talk.
I am aware, Delilah, but if I were truly the guru, the cult leader that so many people say I am, would I be so eager to chase people away from my practice?
People play hard to get because it works, Anglerfish.
Speaking from experience, Dell.
I believe in a lot of things, caller. But the common man's ability to read minds, let alone body language, isn't one of them.
I'd like to be so lucky as to get a chance to read you one day, Delilah.
Tell me, Anglerfish, is it harder to flirt when you have a hole in your head?
The skin covers the incision after the boring, so calling it a hole is a bit of a misnomer. It's more of an indentation now.
Do people ask you about that indentation?
I wear my hair over it most days when I'm out in public. If I had to field questions about it from every person who saw it, I'd never get anything done.
If we could rewind for just a moment. When you were talking about drilling yourself, you said you heard a strange sound?
Ah, yes, the sound of success. You know a trepanation is a success when you hear the air bubbles running under the skull being pressed out of the hole. A gurgling, like oil being struck.
Did you feel any fear at that moment? That maybe you drilled too deep? That maybe you did something that couldn't be undone?
Not for an instant, Dell. Instead, I felt an elation that has stayed with me for 37 years. I had transcended my limits, cracked open my skull, and discovered a boundless reservoir of light inside of me. Light that could now pour freely out of me day and night. I had broken myself to achieve true wholeness.
And you started trepanating others in 1988?
Yes, the Dutch couple. It took me a few years to really refine my technique.
Despite being stripped of your medical license 3 times.
8 times if you count countries outside the U.S., which you should. We're citizens of the world, after all.
8 times. And despite all the lawsuits, you've managed to continue practicing and built up quite a following.
I take it you want to know the secret of my success.
Absolutely. I really do want to know what.
3, 1, 6. There is water. There is water at the bottom of the ocean. Remember.
Hello? Hello, caller? Are you still there?
The technology you rely on was built by men and women who sat in my chair.
Hello, Anglerfish? I'm sorry, we've had some technical difficulties. You cut out there for a moment.
No, it's quite all right.
Your patients. Do any of them come to you later with buyer's remorse?
Just the Dutch couple for obvious reasons. But no, my patients leave the operating room happy, and they stay that way until the end of their days.
I can't imagine being happy all the time.
That's the animal in you. Contentment in the wild is death. Stay in one place for too long, and the food will run out, or a predator will get you. Our genes keep us unhappy, so we're always on the lookout for the next oasis.
Maybe that's true, but I'm not convinced that ecstasy on a loop is a good thing.
If I were, say, St. Peter at the gates of heaven inviting you in, would you be as skeptical?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Really?
I don't see the point in living without disappointment. It's like this. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and do what I always do. I'm going to plug in my toaster, take out an English muffin, and cut it in half with a butter knife. I've been doing this every day for 10 years now. I slide the knife into one of the nooks and work my way around it in a circle. And every time I do it, I hope that today will be the day that I make the perfect cut. A seamless split between the two halves. No jagged, hanging bits of muffin. A cut so smooth it'd make King Solomon cry. Every once in a while I get close, anglerfish. The possibility of perfection gets me out of bed every morning. Maybe tomorrow I'll finally get it right. I'll finally get it nice and even. I don't know who I'd be if I didn't have that failure to look forward to.
It's up to my collarbone now.
And how far down does it go?
To my knees. I'm just a head and some limbs right now, Delilah. The rest of me is all whole.
Do you feel different?
It's hard to sleep. My head is too close to my chest. My breath, it echoes down there, you know. If I talk, it just bounces around down there like it's a goddamn canyon.
How long does the echo last?
You hear for yourself. Say something. Go on now.
Did you just put me over your hole? Jesus.
Yeah, it's like that for me all the time. I try to take sleeping pills to push through the noise, but they're just not strong enough. I think the hole is eating them.
Eating them?
I think the hole is eating a lot of things. I can't get drunk anymore either. Yesterday, I drank a whole bottle of Jack. Whole bottle. Shotgunned it like it was nothing. Didn't even get a buzz from it.
It is possible to develop a preternaturally high tolerance for
food too. I'm always hungry. I'm not starving. I think the hole is giving me the nutrients I need to keep going because it hasn't fully taken over yet. The hole still needs me to walk it around, but soon it will be all of me. And then maybe it won't give me anything else. Maybe it'll starve me to death, and what's left of me will fall off like old skin off a snake.
That sounds terrible. Truly.
Yeah. It'd be nice to eat something and feel it in my stomach, Delilah. I can't tell you how much I miss that feeling.
Grasshopper, you said you've heard it breathing sometimes, making noises. Does it still do that?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And it's been doing different stuff lately.
Different how?
No, wait, hold on. I can hear it. It's starting again. There's these noises. They've been coming out the last few days. Let me get the phone closer. Listen, you can hear it, right? Please tell me you can hear it.
Yes. Yes, I can hear it.
never talk about it.
For the same reason we don't talk about Roxanne. Why let the harsh light of reality shine in?
Yeah, I guess. It's just, you can talk to me about it if you want. You know?
You don't want that. Believe me, you don't.
I think you'd be surprised at the things I want, Lila.
She used to have all kinds of names for me. Lilac, Sapphire, Ladybug. She was the kind of mom who'd put a different handwritten note in each of my school lunches. She played Joni Mitchell records while braiding my hair. We'd tell each other our dreams, no matter how weird they got. The first time I came home drunk from a party, she didn't shame me for it or scream at me. She just tucked me in without a word and gave me the best breakfast I ever had the next day. And yeah, she was strange sometimes and distant, but we all have those days, right? We all have days where we wake up and all the edges are sharp and so are the sounds. But then one day, without any warning, the woman who used to call me Ladybug and put banana stickers on my sandwich bags called me a satanic whore and broke a flower pot on my face. The woman who used to call me the only light in her world, my mother, chasing me around the living room with a knife covered. You really want me to keep going, Hank? You really want me to open this door all the way?
Would you hate me if I said I changed my mind?
No, Hank. Really. I don't want you to carry my baggage. I'd rather you make me forget about that door for a night or two.
I'd be happy to do that, sugar. I didn't know you liked Joni Mitchell.
You'd be surprised at the things I like, Hank.
Yeah, Sasquatch can rage, man.
He's a real party animal, huh?
I don't know. I don't know if Quash is a he. Look, I don't know if their kind believes in like a gender binary.
Fair enough.
They did have a real big hog, though.
I was just about to ask about Sasquatch's hog.
Huge. What was that Post story where they had the guillotine thing swinging from the ceiling?
The Pit and the Pendulum.
Like that. Total Pit and the Pendulum hog.
Was Sasquatch aggressive at all?
Nah. Super chill. Real approachable if you come correct. Just hanging out in the woods, getting fucked up on hallucinogenic maple syrup, living that good, wild life.
Hallucinogenic maple syrup?
I didn't know about it either, but Quatch turned me on to these red velvet looking trees that got this sweet syrup that'll really jack you up.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. You met Sasquatch outside this music festival. And
you still there?
Melodious woodpecker? Hold on, we're experiencing some interference.
2, 5, 6, 1, 0, 3.
There is water. There is water at the bottom of the ocean.
Hello, who is this?
So cold. There is water.
Yes?
There is water at the bottom of the ocean.
Hey, D. Am I still on?
Woodpecker? Yes, I can hear you. Sorry about that interruption in our broadcast, folks.
Oh, it's cool. I kind of figured you had to, step outside or something since you weren't talking.
Caller, did you not hear the other voice on the line?
Nah. I heard a little bit of static, but nah, no voice. Everything copacetic, D?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So you and Sasquatch at the festival.
I'm telling you, D. Sasquatch can rage.
This means something. My dad said it all the time when we were having dinner. This is important. On the nights that Sheila, my mother, made mashed potatoes, we'd pile them on our plate, thick, buttery mounds, and we'd shape them into towers and mountains, pyramids, rings. I saw a picture of that face on Mars. Not really a face, an optical illusion, but it looks like one. And I carved it on my potatoes. Dad loved it. The next time we had mashed, he made Easter Island heads. Our mom, as you can imagine, hated this. She started making a second crock of potatoes just for us to play with. For the longest time, it was our favorite movie. She didn't like it. She never watched it with us. She had Clint Eastwood movies. My dad and I, we had Close Encounters of the Third Kind all to ourselves. I can't remember how many times I watched it with him. I can close my eyes and see every single frame of it. Sometimes I replace Richard Dreyfuss with my father when I remember the movie. I like to think that's why he's not here anymore, that he left with them, forever above the ground instead of under it. I asked her about a year before things went bad why she didn't like the movie, and I'll never forget what she told me. It's a cruel movie, honey. A woman could never experience that. A man gets to leave his family behind and go gallivanting among the stars, and it's forgiven. It's heroic. Such a noble sacrifice. But if a woman did that, unimaginable, honey. That's why it's Abraham and Isaac in the Bible, not Sarah and Isaac. Because it's expected for a man to turn his back on family, to throw them away for the good of greater good. But if it were Abraham's wife laying their son on that slab, raising that knife up high for the Lord, it wouldn't matter if she stopped herself. The moment she picked up that knife, she was damned. A woman who forsakes her family, Delilah. Well, that's just history's greatest monster.
Right. And you know they're illegal to listen to them in the UK.
The number stations.
Yeah, the Brits are one of the few countries to even acknowledge that they exist. And it's really just to say, like, hey, if you pay attention to this thing over here, you're breaking the law.
How would they even enforce that law? I mean, how would they know?
I mean, it beats the hell out of me.
And you've never gotten anyone stateside to acknowledge that they're real.
I've been taping number stations since 1993, Del. I mean, I've got a grain silo filled with tapes at this point. And I mean, every time I talk to somebody who would know a thing or two about them, someone in Air Force or in intelligence, you know, someone who would have some real juice, they all play dumb.
Have you noticed any common themes or like motifs that appear in your recordings?
Yes. Okay, and it's going to sound kind of weird, but it's all like relaxation sounds,
What do you mean?
Like water, dripping water, wind, leaves. Whales. There's tons of whale songs.
Whales.
Yeah, it's a bit of a humdinger.
You've been listening to these for years and years. Do you have any idea what these stations are broadcasting? I mean, what do you think they're all for?
I mean, okay, truth be told, Del, I really don't think the government is behind it, right? I feel like there's some other larger power group, like a worldwide power, right? And they're using these stations to communicate. Our governments won't acknowledge they exist because they don't want to admit that they don't know what the hell these stations are broadcasting either, right? It's better to just play mysterious than to admit some freaky shit's happening right under your nose.
All these years later, why do you keep recording them? Why listen to something you don't understand?
Well, I mean, I think they want me to listen.
Why would you say that?
Well, about 7 years ago or so, I started having these dreams where I'm in this water. It's this really cold, freezing cold water, but I'm not drowning in it, right? It's like I'm sleeping in it. Like I'm just floating in this cold blueness. And I hear numbers, right? Like something is talking to me and giving me these numbers in the same cadence that I hear on the number stations. 5, 7, 7, 9. Right? It's not always those numbers, but you get the idea.
Are you alone in the water?
There's these shapes. Sometimes big and black, like the shadows of something huge, and they're floating like right underneath me. But to tell you the truth, I never really get a good look at them. I'm too busy listening to the numbers because I record them down later.
Recording? So you've been keeping track?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've got 5 spiral notebooks just full of these water numbers, Del. But so that's not all. Sometimes I get these messages, voicemails, right, from the number stations, just little snippets here and there. Or I'll call somebody on the phone and like right in the middle of our conversation, the number stations, they'll just cut in for a few seconds.
Huh. Well, that is certainly something.
Yeah, they're doing it to you too, aren't they? I've been dying to ask you. I mean, I've been hearing them creep into your signal. Hey, word to the wise, Del. I mean, if they want you to hear them, you can't tune them out. Believe me, I've tried.
I pray every day, Delilah, and it's not for forgiveness, not anymore. Oh, I first got here, I got on my knees every morning and every night to ask God to forgive me, but he didn't answer me. Day after day, I'd call out and he would not accept. My father, your granddaddy, he prayed all the time. Said God answered him in his dreams. It's like the most wonderful music in the world, he'd tell me. The Lord sings to me every night. When your granddaddy died, he was so peaceful on his final bed, said to me that he was looking forward to hearing the Lord's eternal music in full. But I never heard a note of it, Delilah. So I changed my tune. I started asking for understanding. Help me understand, Lord. Help me understand why you orchestrated this. How I can stand in my kitchen one Tuesday morning, making puff pastry, listening to Joni on the radio, and then everything goes black like a TV being turned off, and I wake up on the bust of Florence McClure's, metal biting on my wrist. One moment I was your mother, I was a wife, and the next I'm being told by the guards that I hurt, that I killed, and I remembered none of it. None of it. So I prayed. I prayed in my cell, asking God to fill in the blanks. Tell me why this happened, Lord. Why did you destroy my life? Silence. Always silence, Delilah. Some nights I'd dream about that Tuesday. Flashes would come back to me, visions of you running, my hand on the knife block on the counter, your father in the bathtub. I'd hear a voice, not my voice, coming out of my mouth. Let me in. I would see blood on my hands, on the floor, the sofa, the bathroom tiles, and little flashes. And I know this will sound cowardly, I know it, but I prayed for these images to go away. I prayed for empty, dreamless nights. I wanted to understand. I didn't want to see. Now I prayed for ignorance, and God kept his silence. After a while, Dal, I started to think that maybe he couldn't hear me. Maybe people like my daddy, who spent their lives spreading the good word, maybe they made it this way. They made too many believers. Now there's too many prayers out in the air, too much to listen to. So the Almighty can't hear none of it. It's all noise to his ears. A sea of pleading crashing against the rock of heaven. I thought that for a long time, Del. But then I thought about that thing you told me once, about how radio waves travel for hundreds of years. And now I think that's what it is. All our prayers are out there, traveling hundreds and thousands of years, moving across God's celestial kingdom to find him. He lives so far away from us that he won't hear any of our prayers until we're dead and gone. It makes me feel sorry for him. How helpless he must feel, getting all these prayers from people he can't help in the here and now. I know it'll sound weird to you, Delilah, but I take comfort in that. All this time I thought he was ignoring me, that he was punishing me with his silence. But it's all of us. He's too far away to hear any of us. So all I can do now is pray to the people who can hear me. All I can hope is that you can hear me, Lilac, and find it in your heart to forgive me for something that neither of us will ever understand. I know that's a big thing to ask of anyone. But you listen to people every day who ask you to believe impossible things. Why not me? Make me one of your animals. I'll be your seagull, your chipmunk, your snapping turtle, whatever you want to call me. I'll be your blue whale, like the ones that sang to you in your sleep.
I haven't left my house in weeks. I can't bear it. I try to starve it, but it's just too hungry. I'm just a pair of hands and a mouth now. The whole, it's eating everything else.
Have you tried getting help? Have you called a doctor?
Yes, I have, and none of them believe me, or their receptionist. I should say. One time, a nurse said, yes, come in, and I almost did, but then I thought, what would happen to me if they saw the hole? Would they take me away somewhere, lock me in a lab to study me? Would they dissect me? Try to cut the hole away, send a probe in to see how far it goes? What if they could weaponize the hole? Find a way to implant it in enemies? Imagine a gun that can make bullet holes you leak into instead of bleeding out of. I didn't want to take the risk. And now, I wish I had. Maybe I would still have a body.
It's not too late.
It is, Dale. It is. I even tried eating rat poison a few days ago, and it didn't work. The hole just ate it, same as it eats anything else. It's only a matter of time now before it eats my mind. I can already feel little chunks of my memory disappearing. Just an hour ago, I forgot the name of my best friend from the 5th grade. I could see his name clear in my mind, and the letters, they just crumbled away into nothing and got sucked into the maw. The hole is going to take everything from me.
I'm so sorry that this is happening to you, Grasshopper.
The worst part isn't dying, Dale. I made my peace with that. I just worry that the hole won't stop with me.
What do you mean?
When I said I don't leave the house anymore, that's because I'm worried it might start eating anything else. What if it starts sucking up bugs and pollen and sunlight and gravel? What if it eats me and then starts eating my house? Huh? My neighborhood? The entire city?
You think it's that kind of black hole? The kind that nothing can escape from?
I do, Dale. My mama, when she went, she told me it was all right because she knew the world would still go on. There'll still be music after I stop singing, she told me. The birds will pick up my slack. But I don't know that. Maybe the hole will eat the birds when I'm gone. Maybe it'll eat you, Dale. How am I supposed to live with this, huh? Knowing that I might carry the death of all things inside of me. Dale? Wait, what should I do? Help me, Dale. Please? Dale? Dale?
I'm afraid that's all the time we have tonight on Midnight Wildlife. Tune in tomorrow night on 1777 KZOS as we feast our eyes and ears on the strangest attractions at the human zoo.
Lila, help me, please.
Stars are real beautiful tonight.
A million dead fireflies floating in molasses.
What?
Just something one of my callers said once. Haven't been able to get it out of my head whenever I look at the stars now.
Thanks for putting it in my head too, sugar.
Well, it's not wrong, though, when you think about it. So many of those little pinholes of light up there, they burnt up a long time ago. Most of that sky is deader than it looks, like draping Christmas lights across an empty house.
Damn, Delilah. Is it that hard to just say, nice night, beautiful sky? It sure is.
Hank, if you just talk to a guy who's convinced he's collapsing in on himself like a dying star, you'd probably be a little morbid too.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's funny. Sometimes people will call me a radio star, and I think how appropriate that is. Because one day, hopefully a long time from now, I'll be dead, but my voice will still be out there somewhere, drifting through the stars.
Finding a whole new audience.
I'd like to see how well Dr. Lips does with the 18 to 25 alien demographic.
Your show will kill, hun. That aliens will gather around their satellites and be like, hey, this is the guy that our great grandpappy probed.
Maybe. I lied, you know.
You mean you didn't like that thing I did?
No, not that. When you asked if I wanted to see a UFO, I do. I really do, just to be sure.
Sure about what?
That we're not alone in the universe? You know, there's this theory that the reason we never hear from aliens, that all these signals we send out that don't get answered, is that they're all dead. They existed at one point, intelligent life all over the universe, and then they all went extinct. Now it's just us, the last burning embers of sentience in the cosmos, and we're on the verge of killing ourselves, wiping out that last intelligent spark in the hopes that it will give value to the shareholders. It's nice to think that when we kill ourselves, that wouldn't be the end. Maybe there's an intelligent gas cloud or a case of like silicon shrimp somewhere that will carry the torch when we're gone.
Come on. There's like millions of planets out there, right? They can't all be empty.
I don't know. I really don't.
Look on the bright side. If we're gone, the dolphins and whales can take over. They'll probably do a better job than we ever could.
That is if we don't kill them all first.
Oh, Jesus, Del. I'm just trying to slip a silver lining on here.
I know what you're doing. It's hard to take sometimes to think that this is it, that we won the cosmic lottery and blew it. The pressure I feel sometimes, a billion dead planets out there. And what am I doing with my shot at life? Talking to people about lake monsters? Asking bored housewives what it's like fucking Selena?
There are far less interesting ways to live, babe.
I guess.
You ever think they're out there and they don't talk to us because they're afraid of us? I mean, look at Hiroshima, Buchenwald, Nanking. We did that to ourselves. Imagine what we do if someone else ever came through to say hello.
So you experience past life regression in reverse.
Yes, it's just that my past is in the future. I can remember thousands of lives that stretch on beyond me, Del. Millennia of future me's living deep in space. But I don't remember any of the lives that came before me and our past. I think we, and by that I mean me and my future selves, I think we're experiencing our collective past one life at a time.
We have a lot of people who talk about the future on Midnight Wildlife. So many of them paint a grim portrait of our future. Does that jive with your experiences?
Oh, for sure. We've got a few bad centuries ahead of us, Delilah. Acid oceans, mass extinctions, nukes in both hemispheres, intelligent machines on the warpath. Really bad Armageddon stuff. But after all that stuff, we grow into something better.
So the apocalypse is just fertilizer.
Yes, exactly. And centuries from now, we'll be living on Mars and the moon and Europa. That's where I'll live for almost half a millennia on Europa. Did you know there's water there, trapped under an ocean of ice?
Water at the bottom of the ocean.
Right, like that song.
What song?
That This Is Not My Beautiful Wife song. Water dissolving, water removing.
There is water at the bottom of the ocean. You're right. I always forget about that part.
That's what 3 of my lives on Europa were about. Drilling for water.
What's Europa like?
Oh, it was cold, really cold, but beautiful too, like living on top of a giant crystal.
Some scientists have theorized that there could be alien life on Europa. Did you see any there in your past, future lives?
Oh, you mean the sleepers? Yeah, of course.
Sleepers?
We found them deep in the ice, under layers of ice so hard our drills couldn't punch through them. Never saw one up close, but they were big, at least 50 feet long, looked like whales. We did brain scans on them, and their minds were wired a lot like ours. They were just a lot bigger. Their brains were in a constant REM state.
Whales? You said they were whales?
They look like them. Yeah, they just slept in the ice. But they would talk to us in our sleep sometimes. Weird stuff, numbers mostly.
And you remember these whales talking to you?
They still do sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think they're talking to me. I think they think I'm the me they know later on. I don't think they understand time the way we do. So it's like I'm intercepting a broadcast meant for someone else.
Seahorse, in your future lives, do you remember meeting anyone who sounds or looks like me?
Yeah, I did a few times. You'd be surprised how often we recycle bodies. It's like our genes don't even try to be creative between generations. Why do you ask?
No reason. It's just, it's not every day you get to talk to someone who knows your descendants.
You have one new message.
Hey, prickly pear, listen, I know this ain't the ideal way to do this, but look, I'll just come out and say it. Roxanne knows. She got in my emails and, oh man, it's bad. Real bad. She called the show you hate, the Dr. Lip show, to get advice about, well, our marriage. She didn't mention your name or anything, but well, I mean, she said it was a radio host and mentioned aliens, so I don't think it's going to be much of a secret for long. She called you a flying saucer slut, Dell. It was uncalled for, but she's angry. You wouldn't believe the things she's been calling me. Oh, she's on fire, Dell. It's like living with a volcano. Look, Lila, you know I've really enjoyed our time together, but, well, I mean, the rodeo isn't forever, right? At some point, the pony's got to go back in the stable, and I just think that it's time.
Message or deletion.
Those math dreams I had with the whales, did I ever write any of that stuff down?
It's a long time ago, Ladybug.
Don't push it, okay? I'm not ready for Ladybug.
Okay. Now that I think about it, I think you did. You used to have this She-Ra notebook you doodled in. I remember you used to show me all these numbers you wrote in there.
I know exactly which ones you're talking about. I think it's still in storage.
You kept all that?
My stuff and Dad's.
And the photo albums are still in there?
Yes, Sheila.
I can't remember what my mother looks like. Do you think you can send me one of her pictures?
Well, you'll have plenty of time to look at them for yourselves.
You didn't. You talked to my lawyer? You talked to him?
You can't live with me, Sheila, if they let you out.
What?
Nothing's certain, okay? They still might not let you out. I'm just not committing to helping them keep you in.
What changed your mind?
I heard you. Hello, Europa. This is Delilah Peel with 1777 KZOS. You're on Midnight Wildlife. If you can hear us, send us a signal. We started broadcasting 2 hours ago, so our initial howdy should have washed over Jupiter by now. If you're just joining us, listeners, this is a very special episode of Midnight Wildlife. I'm not taking any terrestrial phone calls tonight. I'm only taking calls from outside our atmosphere. For those of you tuning in, I have celestial coordinates, equatorial coordinates for a specific spot on Europa. I got these coordinates from a She-Ra notebook I wrote in when I was in the 5th grade and from the number stations that keep hacking into my broadcast. When I compared the two, it turned out there was a certain sequence of numbers that kept popping up every time. At first, I thought these repeating patterns of numbers might be phone numbers. But nope. Turns out they are exact coordinates for Jupiter's icy moon. I know, dear listeners, You're probably thinking that Dell's gone off the reservation. All these years of listening to you talk about your wild and crazy out of these world experiences has finally rubbed off on me. She's cracked. Must be all the stress from her convict mother getting out of prison. Or maybe it's from getting exposed as a homewrecker by Dr. Lips, which, by the way, it takes a lot of balls to call yourself a doctor when you've got a laser jet printed doctorate from the University of American Samoa hanging in your romp room. But that's neither here nor there, folks. It may sound like I'm committing professional suicide right now, but I'm not. I'm living up to the spirit of this program, to give voice to the voiceless, to call mysteries out by their names. Your vampire boyfriends, your Sasquatch wingmen, your interplanetary pancakes, I believe in them. I believe in you. So believe in me, my late night animals. Believe that there are whales sleeping under the ice of Europa. Believe that they are singing out there somewhere in the Black Ocean. We gave you Chuck Berry. We gave you Louis Armstrong. We gave you Blind Willie Johnson and Mozart and peasant girl songs. Give us something. Anything. Please. We're listening. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for Radio Free Europa. At this time, I would like our wonderful cast and crew to turn on their cameras and surrender themselves to a virtual round of applause from you, the viewing audience. Thank you for joining us for this presentation. Thank you to this wonderful team of people. Yay! Woo! Thunderous applause from living rooms all around the country and world and Europa.
And Europa.
Thank you all for joining us tonight for Radio Free Europa. If you enjoyed this production, please tell your friends. We have 11 more performances, all live. Next one's tomorrow night at 7:30. Space55.org is the website. If you would care to donate to us, the link is at the bottom in the YouTube feed. Please, tax-deductible donations are greatly appreciated and will help us get these doors open back up again. And please like and subscribe to the YouTube page because we will do more digital content. This is just the beginning for us. Aleks, Tuchi, you both Matt Clarke. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Happy weekend. Thank you for joining us for Radio Free Europa.